Hello YouTube, I purchased this beautiful lot of 9 Game Boy boards for $15 a piece. Yes, you heard it right, $15 a piece. Let's get into it. I decided to create a series of episodes fixing all of them, so I'll show you how to replace all the parts or to fix them if necessary. I used one of them already for a Game Boy that I already sold, black Game Boy color if I recall correctly, and this one was a board for all white Game Boy color that I used to have, and I sold it, but then it stopped working. On the time I didn't have enough knowledge to fix it, so I used it for parts and remove a couple parts from it. Now I know and are more confident, so we are gonna use this board instead. You can see it was damaged and somebody put a wire on it to try to fix it. Also, the soldering mask is damaged and they somehow put some like silicone on the wire that they installed. So I actually didn't check if this works, so we're gonna use this as a donor. This is missing, as you can see, the jack 3.5 millimeter connector, the power jack, and a couple of more components, one fuse and one C22 capacitor. So let's go ahead and I will use also some parts that I purchased from AliExpress. I will show you the listings, the links. I don't got them, but they are very easy to look. So we are going to start with the jack 3.5 millimeter connector. This one I already had it. I haven't been able to find a replacement for this on AliExpress. So you always have to take it from another board. So you just put it into place and solder the 5 joints that it has on the back. Now let's go ahead and install the power jack connector. This I was able to find it on AliExpress. It's not exactly the same model, but it fits and works for our purposes. You can see these 2 little circles. They don't match the 2 little holes on the board, so you have to trim them. I use my cutter tool to remove those tiny circles and it will fit right into place, just like this. Push it all the way in, and now we are good to solder the 5 connection points. Let's put some solder into the tip of the iron, push it with your hand and solder one of them into place. This will help to have it in position. Now we'll add some flux, so you guys don't hate me for not using flux. Just kidding. And now we'll solder each 5 of them, just like that. This is probably the easiest part of the job, just to prove this. And if you don't have the connector, you can always bridge these 2 pins, 2 and 3. You can put a cable there, a wire, and that will also help you to test the Game Boy. I will suggest to get one of those power jack connectors. They're like $1 a piece. So now let's go ahead with the fuses. As you can see, I purchased 10 fuses for $1. The only issue with this is, as you can see, they are tiny. Super tiny. Way smaller than the ones that originally came with the Game Boy. So it's gonna be a hassle to put them into position, but let's try it anyways. Let's start by removing the old solder, from the board. This is F2, fuse number 2. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it was a struggle to get the fuse out of the packet. So after 2 hours getting that thing outside of the box or package, whatever it is, let's put it into position, put some flux on both sides of the fuse, and now let's start the solder process. What I'm gonna do is put some solder into the tip of the iron, and I will hold the fuse with my plastic tool on the other side, hoping that I don't melt it. I don't know if you can see it, it's so tiny. So now let's just touch it, push it from one side, and solder it. It's a little bit too much to the right, so let me try to move it a little bit to the left so it has a right connection. Like I said, it's hard to work in this, but it's not impossible. You just need to be patient and be very careful. Maybe it was a great idea to first install the fuse and then install the power jack and the jack 3.5mm connectors. But anyways, it is what it is. Let's use my tweezers to move it, and I think it's in place. Now let me move it so I can work easily on the other side. And I will just heat the pad, touching the other side of the fuse, and melt some solder into it. And just like that, we have installed our fuse, or tiny fuse. Now let's give it a good cleaning. And it should look something like this. Looking good, right? Now let's test if the fuse works. If it's well installed, of course, you should put your multimeter into continuity mode and you will hear a beep. Let's touch each side of the fuse, and yes, it's working just fine. For some reason it beeped while I was not touching anything. And now let's test F1, and it's not working. So let's go ahead. I will do this faster. Just put some flux into each side, add some new solder to each side of the fuse that we need to replace now. Hold it with tweezers, heat it, and try to move it. You have to be very careful to not rip the pads apart. So I decided to move it to another angle and start heating one side, and then move the iron to the other side very quickly, just like this. And now we got it out. Excuse the poor focus of my camera due to my big hand. So now we remove the fuse from the other board. At the end of the day, I wanted to show you how to transfer one fuse from another board to the one that we are working on. And let's test if this one is working. It is. And this one is also working. So we can grab any one of those. I think it will be cool to show you how to put a new one and how to put one fuse from another board. So we'll do the same thing. We also need C22. Like I said before, it was missing on my other board. I used it for parts before. So let's add some new solder to each one of the sides of this thing. Just like that. And now let's do the same thing for the fuse. Now let's add some flux to the components that we're going to remove. You know what I'm thinking? This board might be a great piece for a Poco. I don't know if you know about it, but it's a Game Boy Pocket that is modded with a Game Boy Color components, so it shows color, and it's really cool. You need to slice the board on two halves, so it's difficult to sacrifice one Game Boy Color board. So I might use this one in the future because the side that I don't need is the bottom side, the bottom half. So now let's remove the fuse from our donor board and put it into position. Let's start with C22. I'm sorry I changed my mind so many times in this video. This one is difficult. You have to grab it with tweezers and try to do the same thing. Hit both sides as fast as you can so you can take it up away from the board. Just like this. One touch here, one touch there, and pull. Once again. There we go. Now let's keep the momentum and go to the other board. It's difficult to work with it, but I just give it a touch and now it's in place. So now we can solder it into position. Just a little touch. And let's clean it. Looking good. Look at this little thing. It looks like it's flexing its muscles. So now with that, we have installed replace the fuses, install a new fuse, and install C22. Now after cleaning, I'll dry it, and now let's test it just to see if it's working. Of course, it won't have sound because it doesn't have a speaker yet. Let's just see that I haven't messed up anything. And we have power, so we are good so far. Let's turn it off, disassemble it again, and now we'll work on the sound. Let's take the board out and move this out of the way. This wheel is very corroded. I think it had water damage because I remember swapping the port that is on top of it. Because also it was very corroded on the time. So we'll see. I might need to swap it too, just to make it look cleaner and, a little bit better. So let's go ahead and put some flux into the pins on this side of the wheel. This is the replacement that we are going to use. I of course got it from AliExpress. They are very cheap. I don't got actually the listing that I got it from, but you just need to look for them on AliExpress. GBC volume wheel. So now let's remove as much solder as possible from these pins. It should look something like this. Let's flip it to the other side and do the same thing. Put some flux on these two ground pads. And we will try to remove as much solder as possible. Just put the soldering wick into the ground pads and touch it with the iron. And when you're happy with the results, we'll go ahead and place the PCB into our PCB holder. Most of these items, you can find them on the description of my video, so you can purchase them. Those are the cheapest that I could find that are very easy to use. Let's put some more flux. Now I will put some more flux on the other side on the pins. You will see why. After that, I put some insulation tape or Kapton tape. And now let's bring the hot air station. Just hit the pads, and with the flux on the other side, the pins will let go at the same time as the pads. Let's grab with tweezers and pull. And just like that, we have removed the old bowling wheel successfully. Look how bad it was looking. Definitely water damage. And look where it looks like. So let's go ahead and try to clean it with some cotton swab and IPA. Unfortunately, I couldn't remove all of that corrosion. And let's clean the other side. Let me dry it. Now let's put some new solder to remove all the solder so we can see through the vias. Of course, this one didn't go on the first attempt, so now let's install the new volume wheel. There's only one way you can put it, like just put it into position, and we'll add some new flux to the pins on top of the pads on the board. It's 5 of them. You don't need much flux. And now let me zoom really fast. With my finger, I will push after putting some fresh solder into the tip of the iron. I'll push just to hold it into position and solder one of them. This will keep the component into position, and now we can go ahead and solder the other ones. Just like that. Oh my God. Accidentally, I just bridged 2 pads. We will go back to them when we are done. Let's go ahead and solder the rest of the pads. Looks good and shiny. The reason why I used flux while using the hot air station, it was just because the flux will make the heat to transfer better. So we don't want to remove those tiny components when heating the board. We just want to remove those pins to let go. So now let's fix this. And it looks good. I will put just a little bit more flux on that pin that we removed the bridge. Just like this. That looks good enough. Not perfect, but good enough. Now let's flip the board to the other side and let's solder those two ground pads. Just hit them and touch with the solder. Just like that. I think that looks very good. So we have successfully installed the volume wheel. Let's give it a clean on both sides. Now let's work on the speaker. Put some new solder and remove the old solder with the new one using the wick. Of course, the second one didn't go at the first time. This is the speakers that I use. It's $3 for 3 pieces, so $1 a piece. I will remove that white thing with scissors, and now let me remove a little bit of the insulation, and let's insert the tiny wire through the vias just like that. And what I will do while I hold it, I'll bring my solder, bend it looking towards me, and I'll just put into the tip of the iron and solder it into position. And just like that, we have installed a new speaker, new volume wheel, 2 fuses, the jack 3.5. Let me bring this pistachio green pad because I was missing the pad on my test Game Boy. Put everything into position. Lock the ribbon cable. Close it. Put some new batteries. And moment of truth. Will it work properly? Let me put the Godzilla game that I got. And let's turn it on. And it gives us sound. It's working. Of course, it didn't read the game at first attempt, but I'm very happy with the result. Let's try again. Blow it a little bit, you know, old-fashioned. And it's on. Let's see. Ooh, look at that. Godzilla. Okay. Oh my god, what is this? Thought Godzilla was supposed to be intimidating. Oh my god. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy it. See you in the next one.